Damon sat alone in his small room on Mars Station 7. The walls were gray. The air was dry. His only window looked out into the endless red dust of the Martian surface. Outside, nothing moved. Inside, not much did either. He sighed and looked at the blinking light on his screen. Delivery confirmed. Biocompanion model for X en route. ETA, 12 minutes. Finally, Damon said, rubbing his tired eyes. It had been 6 months since he last talked to anyone face to face. Life on Mars was quiet and lonely. He worked maintenance on power lines, checked systems, and filed reports. Most of the other workers had already gone back to Earth or were assigned to bigger stations. Damon stayed because no one else wanted the job. That's why he ordered a pet companion, a soft, smart animal robot that could follow him around, respond to commands, and maybe even play a game or two. Just something to talk to, something to keep him company. He imagined a small creature, maybe cat-shaped or like a fluffy dog, with warm eyes and a wagging tail. Something simple. When the buzzer rang, Damon stood quickly. He opened the door and saw a long metal crate sitting in the hallway. It hissed softly, steam rising from the sides. A small tag blinked. Live contents, handle with care. He frowned. Live. That's strange. Damon dragged the crate inside. It was heavier than expected. He tapped his code on the panel, and the crate hissed again, then slowly opened. Inside was not a pet. It was a girl. She was curled up, her knees pulled to her chest, shivering slightly. Her skin was light blue, almost glowing. Her hair was silver and floated softly, like it was lighter than air. Her eyes were wide open, big and bright, glowing faintly in the dim light of his room. She looked straight at him. Damon froze. His mouth moved, but no sound came out. He stepped back, nearly tripping over a chair. What is this? He whispered. The girl didn't speak. She just watched him. Slowly, carefully, she sat up. Her movements were strange, smooth but cautious, like someone who didn't know how gravity worked. Her fingers touched the edge of the crate, feeling the surface like it was new to her. Damon ran to his terminal. Station AI. Confirm package contents. He said. The screen blinked. Biocompanion model for X. Confirmed. Delivery complete. This isn't a pet, Damon shouted. Model for X is listed under experimental biological unit. All records match request. No errors found. He stared at the girl again. She was now sitting on the floor, legs folded neatly beneath her, her head tilted slightly. She raised her hand and mimicked his earlier motion, rubbing her eyes. She was learning. Can you talk? Damon asked, gently. She blinked. Do you understand me? No answer. But she seemed to be trying to copy his mouth movements. He stepped closer. She didn't back away. She looked calm but curious. He noticed something, small symbols on her wrist, glowing faintly. They weren't Earth letters. They looked alien. Damon tapped the symbol into his system, searching for anything similar. Match found. Velari language, classed a genetic experiment marker. His heart skipped a beat. The Velari were an alien race, one of the first to contact humanity 50 years ago. Peaceful, but distant. They rarely shared their technology and never allowed humans into their labs. So why was a Velari-made hybrid girl delivered to his room on Mars? He leaned down carefully, speaking slowly. Your name, do you have one? The girl touched her chest, confused. He pointed to himself. Damon, then pointed to her. She watched, then slowly mimicked, touching her own chest. Nilla. It came out soft and unsure, like it was the first word she had ever said. But it was clear. Damon felt a chill. She had a name. She wasn't a machine. She wasn't a pet. She was someone. Okay? Nilla, he whispered. We need to figure this out. He reached for the crate again. There was a hidden compartment underneath the seat she'd been lying on. Inside was a folded report, written into languages, one in English, one in Velari script. It read, Project NYLA Neural Yield for Living Adaptation Status, Active Epropose. Long-term social companion testing, human-based species type. Biohybrid language. Adaptive memory capacity. High motion simulation. Level 5 developing. Damon sat down heavily in his chair. They had made her to be a companion. Not a pet, not a robot, but something more, something almost human. He looked back at her. She had moved to the corner of the room and was tracing her finger along the floor, drawing a spiral. When she noticed him watching, she smiled. A soft, innocent smile broke something in his heart. She wasn't supposed to be here. This was a mistake. A big one. But now she was here. And he had a choice. He could report her, or he could protect her. He looked at the report again. At the words, emotion simulation, developing, he knew, deep inside, this wasn't a simulation. She was real, and whatever she was made for. She deserved a chance. Damon didn't sleep that night. He sat at his desk, eyes fixed on the screen, searching everything he could about Project Nilla. But nothing came up. No public records. No government files. Not even rumors. It was like she didn't exist. Behind him, the girl Nilla was asleep on the bed. She had curled up with a blanket, her breathing soft and steady. Damon had given her food, simple nutrient bars and water, and she had accepted them with quiet thanks. She still hadn't said much, but every hour she picked up more words. Her mind was fast, maybe faster than any human's. Damon opened the station's AI system again. Show package delivery logs. The log flashed across the screen. Package. Bio-companion for confirmed sender. Central Logistics Hub. Earth request. Valid tracking path. Unknown. That last word made his stomach twist. Unknown? That wasn't normal. Mars station logs were always clean. Every crate, every message, every shipment, it all had to be tracked. It was protocol. Something was wrong. He tried to open the crate's black box memory chip. It was supposed to hold delivery data, system scans, and sender info. Error. Files corrupted. Tried again. Access denied. Why? Damon whispered. Security. Level required. Clearance Omega-7. That was far above his level. Even the station commander wouldn't have that kind of access. Damon leaned back in his chair, running a hand through his hair. They knew what they were sending, he muttered, and they covered their tracks. He looked over at Nilla. She was still asleep, one hand resting near her face. Her skin shimmered faintly in the red light of Mars sunrise. Damon had never seen anything like her, not in real life. Not in files, not even in deep net stories. She wasn't a machine. She wasn't fully human. But she wasn't an animal either. She was something new, and someone had sent her to him. Later that day, Damon tried to report the delivery. He wanted to follow the rules. Maybe someone had made a mistake, and they'd come take her back safely. He tapped into the Earth comms system and called Central Logistics. A robotic voice answered. This call is being recorded. Please state your request. Yes, Damon said slowly. I received a wrong delivery. Instead of a pet unit, I was sent a living hybrid, possibly Velari related. Model for X. There was silence for a moment, then a soft beep. There is no record of any error, the voice replied. I have the crate. I have the report. The system says it's a model for X, but it's not a pet, it's a living girl. A hybrid. Another pause. Then, all deliveries are final. Bio-companion for X matches your request. No action is required. Enjoy your companion. The call ended. Damon sat frozen. They weren't going to help. They weren't even surprised. He looked again at the data logs. The tracking info was still locked. The crate ID couldn't be traced. All evidence pointed to one thing. This wasn't a mistake. Someone had sent her to him on purpose. That evening, Nilla was awake and walking around the room. She still didn't speak much, but she was curious about everything. She touched walls, picked up tools, even studied the air filter like it was a puzzle. Damon watched her from the side, unsure of what to say. Finally, she turned to him and asked, softly, Home? He blinked. You want to go home? She nodded. Double quotes, where's your home? She tilted her head. Confused. Not here. Not Mars. Earth. Nilla shook her head. No Earth. No Velari. Not safe. That last part made his heart beat faster. Why not safe? She hesitated, then walked to the table. She took a pen and began drawing shapes on a piece of paper, circles, lines, arrows, stars. It looked like a map. Damon leaned closer. What is this? She pointed to one large circle. Villari Place, then a smaller one, Escape, then one near the edge. You. His voice was low. You ran away, and they sent you here? Nilla nodded slowly. He stared at the map. It wasn't complete, but it was enough. Enough to understand she had come a long way, and not by accident. You weren't just delivered, he said. You were hiding. Nilla whispered. Hide from them, from watchers, from masters. Damon felt a chill. She wasn't just a science project. She was a runaway, a living hybrid who escaped her creators. And now they might be looking for her. That night, he locked down his system. He turned off the cameras in his room. He blocked all outgoing signals from his terminal. If they were watching, whoever they were, they wouldn't see her. Nilla seemed to understand. She stayed quiet, sitting by the window, watching the red dust blow outside. Damon joined her. He didn't know what was coming, but he knew one thing. She didn't belong in a lab. She didn't belong in a crate. She wasn't a machine to be tested. She wasn't a pet to be played with. She was a person, a child of two worlds, and someone had to protect her. The days passed quietly. Damon and Nilla settled into a strange but peaceful routine. She didn't speak much, but every day she learned more. Her voice was soft, her words were slow, but her mind worked fast. She watched, listened, and copied everything. She began helping Damon with small tasks, sorting tools, checking temperature readings, adjusting the air filters. She picked up patterns and signals with almost no instruction. Damon was amazed. One evening, he dropped a scanner by mistake. The metal shell cracked. It sparked. Before he could pick it up, Nilla stepped forward and touched it. The scanner lit up. Its systems flickered back online. What? How did you do that? Damon asked. Nyla looked at her hand. Feel it? Broken. Fixed with wave. Wave? She touched her chest. Inside me. Damon stared. He grabbed another broken device, an old communicator that hadn't worked in months. He handed it to her. Nyla held it gently. She closed her eyes. After a few seconds, the screen glowed. The communicator buzzed softly. It was working. Damon felt his heart race. You fixed it. With your body? She nodded. I hear it different, like music. I fixed the noise. Damon sat down, speechless. Nilla wasn't just learning language. She wasn't just smart. She had powers no human had. That night, Damon returned to the Project Nilla report hidden in her crate. Memory capacity, high. Emotion simulation, developing. Bioreactive system, active. Purpose, companion, observation, data. Collection. Companion, observation, data. They hadn't made her to be free. They made her to watch humans, learn from them, report back. But something had gone wrong. Instead of becoming a tool, she had become herself. Damon asked the station AI for access to private science logs about Villari technology. Most files were locked, but one file had an open summary. Villari neural blending, a forbidden practice of combining neural structures from different species. Highly unstable. Results are unpredictable. Emotional instability common. Subject may develop loyalty to unintended hosts. Damon's eyes narrowed. Nilla was never supposed to bond with me. He realized she was supposed to copy me, watch me, maybe even return with data. But instead, she had grown attached. She didn't just mimic his words anymore. She laughed when he told a joke. She showed worry when he was hurt. She looked calm when sitting beside him, listening to music. She wasn't unstable. She was becoming human. The next morning, Damon walked into the small living area and saw Nilla drawing again. This time, the drawing was of him. Simple lines, but clear. His short hair, his tired eyes, the wrench he always carried. He smiled. That's me. She nodded, grinning. You help. You kind. Why did you draw me? Because I feel. Feel what? Nilla placed her hand over her chest. Warm. Safe. Damon looked down, unsure what to say. He had never thought of himself as important or brave. But to her, He was shelter. And now he knew she was more than a creation, more than an experiment. She was alive. A life born from two worlds. But not everyone would see her that way. Late that night, Damon received a hidden message. Incoming scan detected. Unusual signal. Origin, deep space, Sector 14. He checked the source. It wasn't Earth. It wasn't Martian command. It was Valari. They were looking for something or someone. Are they coming for you? He asked quietly. Nilla sat beside him, her face pale. Yes, I feel them, in my head. You're connected, small link, not full. But I hear pieces. Damon's jaw tightened. Can they find you through it? Maybe, she whispered. If I dreamed strong. Damon stood up. He began locking down systems. He activated signal blockers. He rewired the comm lines. We'll stop them, he said. They won't take you back. Nilla watched him carefully. Why help me? Damon paused. He didn't have a big answer. He wasn't a soldier or a leader. He was just a repairman on a lonely station. But he looked into her glowing silver eyes and said, because you matter. And Nilla smiled, a real, warm, human smile. Later, as Damon worked on shielding the room from outside scans, Nilla sat quietly with a music player he had given her. She played an old Earth song, soft piano. No words. It was simple, peaceful, and she began to hum along. Damon watched her, realizing something he hadn't dared to think before. She wasn't just copying humans anymore. She was becoming one. Not by force. Not by programming, but by choice, and that made her more dangerous and more precious than anything in the galaxy. The small room was quiet except for the soft hum of the station's power. Damon sat at his desk, staring at the glowing screen. Nilla was nearby, her eyes scanning every movement he made. She had grown more confident but still watched him with childlike curiosity. Damon had found something, a hidden folder deep in the station's archive, data locked away and marked secret. It was labeled Project NYLA Uprising Files. His fingers trembled as he opened it. Inside were old reports, recordings, and logs, everything about Nilla's origins. The first file was a video, grainy but clear. A group of blue-skinned, silver-eyed hybrids like Nilla, sitting in a sterile lab. They looked confused, scared. A voice spoke in Valaria language Damon didn't understand. Subtitles translated the words. These units are designed to be obedient companions. But some show signs of emotional development beyond programming. They question orders. They resist control. The screen showed a young hybrid girl standing. Slowly, she looked at the guards with bright eyes and said, softly, I want to be free. Damon paused the video, and that made them unstoppable. The sky over Mars Station 7 was dark and quiet. But inside the station, tension filled the air like a storm ready to break. Damon and Nilla stood side by side, watching the horizon through the small window. The red dust swirled under the weak sunlight. Their enemy was coming. The Valari fleet appeared suddenly, sleek ships cutting through the thin atmosphere, casting long shadows over the station. They were not just here to take Nilla back. This time, they wanted to destroy anyone who stood in their way. Damon's heart pounded. He looked at Nilla, who stood calm but ready. We can do this, she said softly. We have to. The station's alarms blared. Damon rushed to the control room. The Valari ships began firing energy blasts, trying to disable the station's defenses. But Damon and Nilla had prepared. They activated hidden shields around the station, making the walls glow with blue light. Nilla sent out a pulse that scrambled the enemy's targeting systems. The ships wobbled in the sky, struggling to hit their marks. The Valari landed troops on the ground. They moved quickly, wearing armor that shimmered like the stars. Damon grabbed his tool and met Nilla at the station entrance. We fight together, he said. Together, Nilla agreed. The battle began. The Valari soldiers were strong and fast. But Damon and Nilla were smarter. They used the narrow hallways and small rooms to their advantage. Damon set traps with wires and tools, catching the enemy off guard. Nilla used her powers to disrupt their weapons and heal Damon's injuries quickly. At one point, Damon was trapped in a corridor. surrounded by 3 Villari warriors. His heart raced, but he remembered what Nilla had taught him. He stayed calm. When the first soldier charged, Damon dodged and pushed a loose panel, sending sparks flying into the warrior's face. Nilla appeared just in time, sending a powerful pulse that knocked the others back. Together, they fought their way out. In the control room, Damon worked frantically to keep the station's systems online. Nyla stood guard, listening carefully. Suddenly, she froze. A voice echoed in her mind, a command from the Villari High Command. They were trying to take control of her. Damon saw her struggle. Fight it, he shouted. Nyla closed her eyes and focused. With a burst of energy, she broke the mental link. The Villari soldiers, seeing their control over Nilla fail, became more aggressive. They pushed harder. But Damon and Nilla did not give up. They fought with courage, skill, and determination. Their bond was strong. They were more than man and hybrid. They were partners. As the battle raged, Damon found a small hidden terminal. He hacked into the Villari ship's systems and sent a virus, a simple but effective code designed to confuse and disable their weapons. Explosions rocked the sky. The Villari ships began to fall back. Nilla used her power one last time. She sent a pulse so strong it disrupted the Villari command signals. Their troops froze, confused and unable to act. Damon took the chance to call for help. Other human stations answered. Soon, reinforcements arrived. The Villari retreated, their fleet disappearing into the stars. Damon and Nilla stood together, exhausted but victorious. They had won the last stand. After the battle, Damon looked at Nilla with pride. "You're amazing," he said. Nilla smiled. "We are amazing, together." The station was safe for now, but Damon knew the fight was far from over. Still, he was ready. With Nilla by his side, nothing could stop them. They had faced the impossible and won. Because of one simple truth: the human spirit is stronger than any power in the universe. The battle was over. The red dust of Mars settled quietly around Station 7, as if nothing had happened. But Damon and Nilla knew things had changed forever. They stood outside, looking up at the stars, the same stars that had watched their fight and their victory. Damon looked at Nyla. She smiled softly, the silver in her hair catching the light. "We are safe," Damon said. "For now," Nilla replied. Days passed. The station repaired itself slowly. People began to return to their work, their routines. But for Damon and Nilla, life was different. She was no longer just a secret or an experiment. She was a person, a friend, a companion. Earth Command sent a message. They wanted Nilla to be studied, to be taken back for research. But Damon refused. "I will not let them take her," he said firmly to the officers. Nilla stood beside him. "We belong here," she said quietly. The officers hesitated, then agreed. They saw the bond between Damon and Nilla, the trust and care that had grown in a short time. They knew she was more than data or a project. She was family. Nilla was granted official status. She was recognized as a citizen of the colonies. She could live and learn freely. Damon felt a warmth in his chest. He had never imagined this day. Together, Damon and Nilla began to build a new life. They worked to help other hybrids, those still hidden or lost. They became ambassadors of peace and understanding between humans and the Villari. Nilla often talked about her home, the distant places beyond Mars, the stars she dreamed of. Damon listened and learned. He realized that her world and his were different, but they shared one thing: the desire for freedom and friendship. One evening, as the sun set behind the dusty hills, Damon and Nilla sat outside the station. She looked at him, her eyes full of hope. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" "For seeing me. Not as a tool, not as a pet, but as me." Damon smiled. "You are special, Nilla." "You are too, Damon." The future was unknown, but they faced it together, with trust, with courage, and with the unbreakable bond they had formed, in a universe full of wonders and dangers. Damon and Nilla proved one thing: no matter where you come from or what you are made of, connection and kindness can change everything. And that was the greatest power of all. Nilla watched silently. He said, "They were prisoners. They'd escaped," Nilla asked quietly. He nodded. "Why?" Damon asked her. Nilla's silver eyes darkened. "Velari treat us like tools, not like people." Damon frowned. "But you're alive." Nilla looked away. "They want control. Make us obey. But we feel. We think." The video played again. The hybrids moved quickly. Guards rushed in to capture them. Some hybrids used strange powers, pushing, pulling, even healing. Others, it was clear they were stronger than the Velari expected. The screen showed the lab breaking down. One hybrid girl, different from Nilla, smiled sadly and whispered, "One day, all will be free." Damon closed the video. He looked at Nilla, his mind racing. "These hybrids were made for obedience," he said. "But they fought back." "Yes." Nilla said, "We are not machines." "But why did you come here?" Damon asked. Nyla shrugged. "I ran. From Velari, from fear, from control." Damon felt a wave of sadness. "You are free here," he said firmly, "and I won't let them take you back." Nilla smiled faintly. Later, Damon opened another file report from the Velari High Command. It detailed the project's failure. Subject units demonstrate unpredictable emotions, loyalty shifts, and possible rebellion. Units have escaped containment. Immediate recall ordered. Damon clenched his fists. "They want to bring you back," he said to Nilla. "They see you as a threat." Nilla nodded. "Because we are different." That night, Damon and Nilla made a plan. She would teach him more about her powers. He would help her prepare for when the Velari came. They started training. Nilla showed Damon how she could send low-frequency waves that affected machines. She could heal minor wounds not like humans, but faster and stronger. Damon showed her how to use tools and simple weapons from the station. She learned quickly. As days passed, Nilla's connection to the Velari seemed to grow stronger. She sometimes had sudden headaches, visions of distant places, and feelings of being watched. One evening, she whispered, "They come soon." Damon's heart pounded. They didn't have much time. Then, the station's alarm blared. Red lights flashed. Damon ran to the window. In the sky above Mars Station 7, a sleek silver ship hovered. It was Velari. Nilla stood beside him, calm but ready. "They are here," she said. Damon gripped the tool tightly. "We fight," he said. The Velari ship sent down a team. But Damon and Nilla were prepared. Using the skills she taught him, Damon sabotaged the station's systems to slow the invaders. Nilla used her powers to block their signals and protect the station. Together, they fought back. The battle was fierce but short. The Velari retreated, surprised by the humans' resilience. As the ship disappeared into the stars, Damon turned to Nilla. "We won for now." Nilla smiled. "Because we are free." Days later, Damon looked at Nilla with new respect. She was more than an experiment. She was a symbol of hope, a sign that even in the darkest places, life could find freedom. The days after the Velari attack were tense. Damon and Nilla knew the alien race would not give up easily. The Velari were powerful and patient. They waited for the right moment to strike again. But Damon had learned something important. The Velari, with all their advanced technology and control, did not understand one thing: human spirit. Damon spent hours repairing broken systems in the station. Working with tools Nilla helped him organize. Despite the danger, he felt a strange hope growing inside him. Nilla was more than just a companion. She was a friend, a partner. Nilla sat by the window, watching the stars. Sometimes she hummed soft tunes Damon had played for her. One day, Damon found her holding an old Earth book he had brought from the supply room. It was a collection of stories about Earth's history, about humans fighting for freedom against all odds. He smiled. "You like stories?" She nodded. "Humans strong, more than strong." Damon said quietly, "You have something they don't expect." Nilla tilted her head. "What?" "Spirit, heart, the will to keep fighting, even when everything seems lost." As days passed, Damon and Nilla worked on ways to defend the station better. Nilla's powers had grown. She could send pulses that interfered with electronics. She could heal minor injuries quickly. Even Damon's cuts and bruises. Damon taught her how to use old mining tools as weapons. He showed her how to hide and move silently. She learned fast that she was becoming a warrior. Then one evening, the station's sensors detected movement outside the base aliens. Damon whispered, but it wasn't the Velari this time. A group of mercenaries humans hired by unknown clients had come, hoping to capture Nilla and sell her technology. Damon grabbed a tool and stood by Nilla. "We won't let them take you," he said firmly. Nilla looked at him, her eyes shining. Together, the mercenaries attacked quickly, but Damon and Nilla were ready. Damon used his knowledge of the station's tunnels to set traps and lead the attackers into narrow corridors. Nilla used her powers to disrupt their weapons and communications. Together, they fought back with courage and skill. At one point, Damon was cornered by two mercenaries. He felt fear rise in his chest, but then Nilla appeared, glowing softly. She sent a pulse that disabled their weapons. Damon took the moment to disarm them and tie them up. He looked at Nilla, amazed. "You saved me," she smiled. "We save each other." After the battle, Damon helped the captured mercenaries communicate with station security. The authorities arrested them, but questions remained. Who had sent them? Why were they so interested in Nilla? Damon didn't have answers, but he knew one thing: the fight was not over. That night, Damon and Nilla sat together, looking at the stars again. "I am scared," Nilla admitted. "Me too," Damon said. "But we are strong." "Yes," Damon agreed. "Because we fight, because we care, because we never give up." Nilla placed her hand on his. "Human spirit," Damon smiled. "Yes, human spirit." The next morning, Damon received a message from Earth Command. They wanted him to return and bring Nilla with him for study. But Damon refused. He looked at Nilla. "You stay here. We fight together." Nilla nodded. Together, they were no longer just a man and a lost hybrid. They were a team, a symbol of hope. As the sun set over the red dust of Mars, Damon and Nilla prepared for whatever came next, because no matter the enemy, no matter the odds, they had human spirit.